Hi guys, hello and good morning. It's Friday the 10th of February 2023. My name is Steve Pugh and I present on this channel. Actually it's my kind of business, and what we do is that we have a business course called a Roadmap Alternative MBA. We have users in 47 different countries now, which is incredible. In the studio, which I shared a bit of a behind the scenes video on the other day, I have a map which is just on that wall. And it was something I wanted to buy basically to gradually kind of keep track of progress, because as a small business owner, it's always that balance of we all go through our different journeys to kind of try our best and try and launch our businesses and that kind of thing. But it's really hard to make progress, and it can be really difficult to kind of just keep track of stuff you're doing. And actually it's very easy to kind of lose motivation as well. So when we get to meet people from Iraq or lots of different places, it's a pleasure to kind of say hello and kind of start to meet you. And then also one of the things that I've really loved as well is that it was only last week that we launched our app, which is fantastic. But actually we're now in a position to properly kind of scale the business and support a lot more people. That historically, when I would send books to lots and lots of countries, it would cost me a fortune to do it, but it was all about trying to prove the concept, prove the idea, and basically kind of go on this journey. So as part of these live streams, what I tend to do is pick out interesting topics from the week. So this is stuff that's actually happened around the world, or that I think might be interesting to kind of talk about. So I clip those up and they all go onto YouTube. So if you search for Roadmap MBA on YouTube, hopefully will come up. There's over 1,000 videos on there now. But what I also love to do as well, for one, if you actually say hello in the comments, it should pop up on the screen. So I love to kind of interact as well. We broadcast on LinkedIn Live, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and quite a few others as well. And basically our mission is to try and bring free business education and training to the world. That we love education in all its forms. We love universities, we love business schools. That's all fantastic, really good stuff. And I must admit, it has really kind of transformed my life, just in the ability to build this and build something that I never had access to when I was younger. And what we're looking to do is support people that traditionally don't have access to business education or training, but actually distill it down into a way that either be it a single book, but also now with the website and the app and lots of the other stuff as well. The whole point is that rather than try and get you to read a 800-page textbook on business strategy or marketing or whichever, most of it won't be relevant to most people, if that makes sense. So with 99.9% of the businesses in the world being small businesses, traditional MBAs are often set up to support much larger companies go on their journeys. And yeah, it's great if you work at Goldman Sachs or Google or whichever, and the stuff that you will learn on a traditional MBA is great. Do it, and if you've got 20 grand spare in a few years' time, it's well kind of recommended. Where we sit is more on the real world business education, which is why we've kind of covered it in the book. That we're also specifically aimed at smaller businesses as well, because as you go through your career, often you have to wear different hats. So you might have a technical expertise in a certain area, which could be, I'm a chartered mechanical engineer. But actually, at some point during your career, as you progress, you get asked to manage a team, help support strategy, get involved with marketing, help bring in customers. So you got sales. Then as you progress to kind of C-suite managing director level, you then start to get involved with the finances. So you have profit and loss accounts and balance sheets and all this kind of thing. So what we wanted to do was quite literally give you the roadmap, start to finish, to basically help you map out your whole career and just give you a platform to help learn some extra skills which you can use to boost your existing kind of platform and stuff that you currently do, just to help you earn more money and basically build a better life for yourself. And what we're looking to do is build a platform where the users that are fortunate enough to be able to pay, and that's generally kind of large corporates who would normally send their team on training courses and stuff anyway. What we hope is that this is actually an incredibly good value course which provides support and CPD certification, but for a whole year for the price of what would normally be a single day course. But what that does, that allows us to support, hopefully, millions of people around the world that otherwise could never access this kind of level of business education and training. So if you check out our website, which is roadmapmba.com, you can download our apps on either the iTunes, Apple Store, or the Google one. I don't think there are any other kind of major app stores, or at least platforms. You got Google, Android, and iOS. But if there are, tell me and we'll certainly kind of look at it. And what I love to do in these kind of live streams is just to share some knowledge and stuff that we've kind of done throughout the week, just in case it's interesting. But then likewise as well, because I'm on this journey myself and you will quite literally see things grow, change and evolve over time. Often when you have people that often offer business support and advice and that kind of thing, it's very rare that you actually see them do anything because the people that actually build big businesses don't often have time to teach classroom sessions, that kind of thing. And often the people that class themselves as expert consultants, they don't always back it up with stuff. So actually through talking about progress and showing you what we've done and actually just being able to go on and look at our products and stuff, hopefully, you know, you can see on and share in our journey as well. So what I'm going to talk about today, so I have a few different topics. One is actually to do with this very cute chair which I bought off eBay for £4, and it's also with the voice of the customer and why that's really important. So I'm going to talk about that one as my main kind of segment today. I'm going to talk about advice, and actually I saw this morning someone being offered advice, if you want to call it that, on LinkedIn. I want to talk about why it's not always good to accept blindly stuff that people kind of tell you. We are actually recruiting for more presenters for this channel. I had the pleasure of speaking to 3 people earlier in the week from Newcastle University Business School, because that is 2 miles that way. And basically what we're looking to do is find really cool people that have their own opinion on stuff. And what we want to do is basically help increase the number of voices on this channel from myself, Ashley King and Tony, to basically cover more different aspects, more people from around the world, because that's what we want. Diversity is a really good kind of thing. I've posted about it, but if you're interested, please kind of get in touch. And you don't have to be in the northeast of England to apply. I'm working on the process that people can present live from anywhere in the world. They will need a decent internet connection, but we can solve that one. But the idea is, as we're looking to grow the business and go on that kind of journey, that's something we are looking to do. Actually, there's something I'm going to talk about on SWOT and pestle analysis, which is basically it's the way that you look at the world as a business and why that's important. Because actually just this morning, thanks to Fina Watson, she posted, she loves motorsport and she's really involved with the motorsport community. And actually in Northern Ireland, which is famous for especially motorbikes, but motorsport in general, there's a whole, basically motorsport was almost going to grind to a halt because of insurance costs. And where I thought this was really interesting is because with SWOT and pestle analysis, that's when you look at the world to either look at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So your strengths and weaknesses are often internal things within the business that you can look, manage and control. But actually opportunities and threats are external factors which can impact you. And actually, if you are a business that runs in motorsport, specifically if you're in Northern Ireland, because insurance costs have gone through the roof, it's now not competitive or even possible to even run these teams. So the external threat was the increase in insurance costs has actually really torpedoed a lot of people's businesses. And what I wanted to do was basically mention this because we cover risks on the course in one of the, I think it's module 6 on business strategy. But it's always worth looking at your business and actually how can you diversify, how can you grow into different sectors, and also how can you mitigate risks which can impact your business. Because actually what we want to do is build an entity which can survive for many, many years. And actually it's often harder than people think, but it was just a prime example which I saw this morning. So thank you, Fina, for that. Okay. Before I go into the voice of the customer, I'm going to have a very quick cup of coffee. But again, you can get in touch on Instagram or lots of different channels just to kind of say hello. And again, it's a really interesting one that I decided to launch the live stream a little bit earlier today. So it's 8:51 here in the UK. And the reason is that a lot of people will have meetings that start at 9 o'clock. So I thought, well, actually, if I start a little bit early, you might have the push notification and it might just hit a different audience. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's more about just doing the broadcast, sharing some knowledge. Hopefully people are getting in touch. And yeah, if you get in touch, it should pop up on the screen as well. Okay. So something I haven't been afraid to talk about, and I record lots of other videos which go onto YouTube and stuff, is if you've never heard of it, there is the world's biggest and best startup accelerator called Y Combinator. It's based in the Bay Area, so in San Francisco, California. Good morning, Clive. I did decide to start a bit earlier. I hope you don't mind, but I just thought I'd mention it. But yes, interest. Oh, it did pop up. I have a thing, and I sometimes turn off the chat. My bad. But anyway, but no, thank you for getting in touch. Hope you're well. Hope the family's good. So YC, Y Combinator, is the world's biggest and arguably best startup accelerator. These are the guys behind Airbnb, Dropbox, and lots of other billion-dollar or multi-billion-dollar startups like Stripe. And actually, if you were ever going to launch a startup and you want to build a billion-dollar business that affects 5 billion people, this is where you would apply. Mega competitive to get in. You're talking at less than 1% of applicants get interviewed and get considered. But basically with the roadmap, what we're looking to do is basically we are going to apply probably next week if I can get everything done. The applications don't actually close until April. But what I wanted to do was apply early, because actually knowing the people that are going to apply, essentially they opened, when was it? I think it was actually the start of February, so it was about 2 weeks ago. And for applications, and there's no data behind this, this is just my gut feel, is that you're going to have very few applications probably until mid-March. And then actually just as you ramp up towards the deadline, which is the 8th of April, I think you're going to have an exponential increase in applicants to YC, because actually everyone wants to make as much progress as you can before you submit. So it's like an exam paper. You tell people about your story, your journey, etc. But basically we want to apply sooner, because touch some wood, hopefully there might be there might be less applicants at that point, where when people go in to actually go and assess these applications and get a feel for your business, chances are they're probably only going to give you 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But I'd much prefer that we got 5 minutes of someone's time when they're not mega busy, than if you fast forward to April and they have a slug of 10,000 applicants in a week. They're probably going to give you 20 seconds, if that. And the idea is it's a gamble, but when we're looking through our application, we are going to submit early. And the idea is that hopefully if we get through to interview, we can just demonstrate more progress between the point of application and also there. People always give advice as well to both look at other content on YouTube, look at other people's application videos. I've been looking at a lot of pitch deck roasts as well. You got Justin Khan and Gary Tan. I was watching some yesterday. And actually just other YouTubers, people that have applied in the past, because I love to learn from their actual experience. And this will get clipped up and go onto YouTube as well. And actually this afternoon, I've got a meeting in person in here with a couple who applied as well for their startup for a previous batch. And basically what we're looking to do is take the Roadmap MBA and take our progress, which is in 47 countries, and our kind of proof of concept, and hopefully raise some money and then take it to billions of people. And that's what we want to do. So this is actually applying for the summer 23 batch, which would start in June. I will tell more in due course. If you follow our YouTube, you'll see some of the kind of behind the scenes stuff. And what I wanted to do was just document the journey. And then if we're lucky enough to get in, basically I'm going to document the whole journey as well. But I just wanted to talk about where we genuinely are. I'm really confident now about our application and what we're going to do and how we're going to pitch it, because actually I've done a lot of homework, and what I would have submitted 2 months ago is now different to what I will now. But that's through actually doing my homework, looking at what other people do, looking at their recommendations, and fingers crossed. If we don't get in, to be honest, that's absolutely fine, because I know how to grow the business and we're going to keep going. But actually what we want to do is try and grow and accelerate as well. Yes, hopefully Clive, the early bird, does get the worm. Fingers crossed, but it's every business journey has good things, bad things, pivots, etc. Whether we do or don't get in, there are good and bad things to both. Giving away a huge slug of equity to other people is, a big thing that you could lose control. But actually, personal ambition and what we want to do to really reach that level, I've bootstrapped everything so far, but I know I can't do that forever. So it's that balance of which poison do you want. And the truth is, I would prefer to go on that journey and have something really take off and then explode, but at least I tried, rather than try and play it safe, play it coy, never really takes traction and that kind of thing as well. But who knows? But I just wanted to give it a quick update on our YC application and what I'll do when I've done our demo video and some other stuff as well. I'll put it onto YouTube. It's not the kind of thing I'll put on to LinkedIn. Maybe I will, I'm not sure, but it's just something I wanted to mention on the live stream. Okay. Okay, so just looking at my topics, I've done the presenter. Okay, so one I wanted to talk about actually, it's about taking advice. So on the internet, there will always be hundreds of people. There will always be hundreds of people that want to tell you what to do. I saw one recently and it was a chap that I've since spoke to, and he wanted to get advice and feedback on LinkedIn for your profile, either picture. You can actually record like a small video which actually plays when you log onto someone's profile. There was a guy called George, and what he wanted to do was basically get feedback. He'd recorded one, I think, on his phone, and it was really good because the whole point of having that is to get a feel for someone's mannerisms, what they look like, what they sound like, and get to know them a little bit better that you can't necessarily do in just a photo. And it must have been some of the other people that commented on his post that I'm not connected with, so they probably won't see this, but even if they do, will tell him, oh, it was too echoey, he should crop it down, he should change the... But my point to George was always be cautious of people that give you advice if they don't either do it themselves or they're not a genuine expert in what it is. Touch some wood, I know quite a lot about video and different stuff, and I have this, which is quite an expensive video studio with moving cameras and all this kind of posh stuff. But my point to George was, the reason why you watch that video isn't to get a brilliant cinematic experience, it's to get a feel for him and like what he looks like, what he sounds like. And I think it works. And people also know and acknowledge that if you film something on one of these, it's going to look and feel different to if you've got a whole really posh camera setup. But they're both good. The important thing is actually the content and what you talk about, not the way it's filmed. But my point is, don't always just accept advice when people tell you something. Look through it through a lens. Do they actually genuinely know what they're talking about? Are they experts in that area? And in that case, you can look at it and think about what they've said and then maybe take it on board. But just because someone says something, the amount of people that I've had say to me over the years, especially at the start with the roadmap, to say, look, it's a crap idea, it'll never work, don't waste your time. I'm glad that I didn't take their opinion, because actually, just because they don't think it's a good idea or they don't see the value or they don't quite understand it, it doesn't make the idea less valuable. It just tells you about that person's viewpoint. But my point being, if people offer to give you advice, or often they kind of force it down your throat, don't accept it blindly, because chances are they probably know less about it than you do. You're just humble enough to ask, and not everyone is. And it was just a really quick kind of 2-minute thing I wanted to talk about. But if you catch this on YouTube or any other platforms, please kind of like and subscribe. And we cover a lot of kind of business and entrepreneurship stuff on this channel. Okay, just gonna get a quick sip. So if you follow any of our socials, you probably will have seen that in the last week, we launched a brand new app, which I'm actually mega proud of, for Android and iOS. And basically what we look to do, what we've done is digitize the entire Roadmap MBA business course onto an app. But also, it's the same if you go onto our web portal, there are videos which discuss every single topic in the course, but there's transcripts, there's subtitles, there's all this really kind of cool stuff. And what we wanted to do was give you a platform where you can access this on the tube, on the bus, anywhere in the world. And the idea is that 86% of the world's population have one of these, so they actually have a smartphone. And what we wanted to do was have the ability to scale, to actually hit a lot more people and give them access to stuff, especially when we expect that 96% of our users will use it for free. That is a much better option. That actually, when you both print and send paper books, for one, it's really expensive, especially when you give them away. but postage, but you've also got carbon emissions from the paper and also the transport. So we really wanted to kind of look at that. You could say, because actually our website and the web portal is actually really good. If you go onto roadmapmba.com, you can create a completely free account today and go on and access all the materials. And some people might say, well, actually, why do you need an app? And because it's expensive to develop when you've got a web portal, or actually for a lot of people that have a phone, they can still get on the internet. And the truth is, then this is genuine, it's to push notifications. So one of the reasons why I live stream as opposed to just pre-record stuff and then put it out there is that for most social media channels, if you subscribe to the channel, you might get a little ping that says, Steve Pugh is now live, Ashley King is live, Tony is live. But what you're doing is that in a very noisy world where everyone's busy, we are bombarded with information, it's very difficult to cut through that, especially with no marketing spend and no kind of budget. So what we wanted to do was have the ability through our platform to message users to basically originally say, there's a live session about to start if you want to join. We have classroom sessions. We've updated module 6 to add in some cool new stuff. But the idea was that on push notification that just pops up on someone's phone, it's that little nudge. A nudge is the technical term to gradually steer someone's direction or feelings on a topic. That often it's really difficult to just sledgehammer someone into changing viewpoints to loving your stuff in one go. But actually through hundreds of tiny little nudges where you're just giving people information and just reminding you that you're there, it really works just in terms of brand awareness and that kind of thing. So it was the whole same reason we do live streams. I just wanted the ability for push notifications, and that's why we actually launched an app and paid the money to do it versus the cheaper, easier way to just direct people to a website. One of the things why I think this is really important now is that for any business owner or anyone, what you want to do is look at the potential opportunity for what can you do with a platform, and actually, is there something that you can do that people might actually appreciate and like within the stuff that you have. And one of the things that I realized is actually a lot of people, including myself, kind of love the occasional inspirational quote. Someone bought my wife a calendar, and every day for the year it has a really nice quote on the inside. And what we wanted to do was I thought, well, actually, can we give users a little bit more value and just a bit more enjoyment from the app, a reason to have it? But now through the push notifications, we have the ability to send people little inspirational things to help them motivate and stay motivated towards their goals, or give them a little bit of a lift. It doesn't cost them anything, it doesn't cost me anything. But actually without the app and the infrastructure that we've put in place, you can't do that. And the idea is that versus our competition who might have an app but don't use that functionality, or someone's turned it off, when you're looking for attention, which is essentially what all businesses look for, the ability to give people little reminders, but in a nice way that you don't annoy them and they don't turn it off, it has real value. But it was something I'd never really spoke about before, but actually for the roadmap and what we're looking to do, yes, we do 4 live drop-in sessions a week that you can join and talk to me and work through different stuff, which is really kind of cool. We have the app where you can ask questions yourself. We've got some really good, cool new stuff coming to help you make decisions and guide your decision making. And it's how you add up all these little things to hopefully just deliver more value than what your competition does. So that's something I just wanted to talk about. These all get clipped up and go onto YouTube as well. So if you want to check out Roadmap MBA on YouTube, you'll see hundreds of videos just like this. And if you like and subscribe, we cover a lot more business and entrepreneurship type content. Okay. What's quite funny, the more you do video, especially when you edit your own videos, I've realized that when I finish a segment, I say, okay. I don't know why I do it. I think it's a habit thing. It's almost where in my head, I've now closed off that topic. I'm going to flip the page and move on. And it's a habit that now that I've called it out to myself, I will try and tweak to stop saying it next time. But it's just funny when you repeat stuff and you watch yourself back. It is quite funny that, I used to hate doing videos in some ways, and it's always difficult that I don't love being on camera. I don't mind it. I'm now comfortable with it. But actually, I had a really good chat with someone yesterday, and she does a podcast. And what we wanted to talk about was how Her podcast, she does audio only because she doesn't necessarily like being on video. But strangely, she was wonderful in terms of, you know, the way that she came across. It was warm, it was friendly, it was nice. It was she would be very good on video. But the point being, certain things in life or in business have inherent value in a way to communicate your message, your passion, what you want to do. And actually, people do want to work with people. They want to know who's behind the brand. That if you can overcome the fear and the awkwardness of actually standing up to present and do different things, it is really worth it. And actually, one of the MBA grads that I spoke to on Tuesday, she actually said, you know, I love presenting in person, and she loves stuff, but she doesn't like doing video. And I was like, well, it's exactly the same. But also, if you keep in mind that most people don't really care and watch this anyway, it takes the pressure off. But actually, when you have fantastic people like Clive that do kind of get in touch, what you wanted to do, it's almost where our job with the roadmap is to help guide your career or business to hopefully help you be as successful as possible. There are things which will help you be more successful. Live streaming is one of them, podcasting can work. But actually, if you don't do these things, that's absolutely fine. You absolutely don't have to, but it will be harder to make your business as successful as it could be because you're not using all of the tools and stuff available. And actually, it is just practice that I've now done a lot of these. I've been doing video for about 10, 15 years. And actually, I feel quite comfortable doing it. That I like doing it live because it means there's no edit. It just goes out. That's it. It's done. But what the part of the reason why I do that is that I still have ambitions to do like a TED talk or a TEDx talk at some point. That actually this is practice for me. It's practice about the roadmap. The more I talk about different people, that when I go hopefully on the journey to speak to investors and different people, the more that I've spoke about what we do and why we do it and that the passion comes across, hopefully it will really kind of help. And actually, I've been doing a lot of outreach to different partners from different organizations that we would love to work with. So I won't name them because if they turn me down, it'll just be awkward. But lots of really kind of cool people around the world, including one which I discovered yesterday, which is actually a veterans, it's not a charity, but it's a veterans organization in America. And I really respect the people that sacrifice their lives for the armed forces, for everyone around the world. And I respect that hustle and that mission. So I would love, again, to support veterans from every country, just being able to access business education and training and support to help them build their life after they leave the military. That it's the right thing to do. So actually, I've got a networking event with them on the 27th, which is in Eastern Standard Time in America. So there is a time barrier difference, which isn't always ideal, but we'll work through it. That's a first world problem, if that's the biggest problem I have to solve. But the idea is often it's putting yourself out of your comfort zone. That's where growth really kind of happens. I try and do it, and it's part of the reason why I'm looking for new presenters. But if you can, for your business or your career, put yourself in slightly uncomfortable positions, but it's the right thing to do for growth, hopefully it will kind of help. So if you catch this on YouTube, please kind of like and subscribe. And yes, I promise that's the last time I'm going to say that today, but I still appreciate when people get in touch. But yes, Clive, you are right. Nudge is a brilliant book to read. And that's the big thing, is what I've always tried to do, is that when I do discover or learn stuff from lots of different sources, I'd write it down. I'd see if it can be incorporated and use it and make it accessible and explain it to people, so they don't necessarily have to go and find, buy and read a 300-page book. If I can do a 2-minute video and hopefully explain it to them. But yes, no, that's cool. That's cool. Okay. So one of the things that you might just be able to see, which is just to my right, I have a bookshelf. So this is my office. This is where I sit and work all day, every day, from the desk there, which runs all of the stream. And basically I have a bookshelf, as most people do when they do Zoom calls. It has stuff on there and it has lots of different kind of cool bits and bobs and whichever. But anyway, something I wanted to buy, and actually it's to basically exemplify and almost help remind me and talk about a business concept. And it's all about the voice of the customer. So what you might be able to see here, I'm just going to move forward, is actually, you can't really see it because it's tiny. It's a small wooden model chair, which I actually bought on eBay. It was £4.50, including postage, I think, from China. But what it's all about, it's about the voice of the customer. There is a management technique, which is the idea is that if you're in a boardroom or at any point in your business, imagine an empty chair in the room. And some people historically would actually pull a chair away from the boardroom table and have it there empty. And the idea is that if when you're making decisions or operating your business, you always keep in mind the voice of the customer. Imagine your customer is literally sat in a chair in the room when you're making these decisions. And this can be anything. It's about how you do everything in the business. Would you make the same decision? How would you think that customers would feel if they knew that you said certain things behind their back, if you actually wanted to sneakily make money off them in a shady way? But the idea is actually having a model chair on my bookshelf is there to actually remind me for every decision that we make within the roadmap, for every live stream, every pricing decision, every meeting I have with different people. Imagine there is a customer or a potential customer sat in the room. How would they feel? What would they think? And actually, is it in the best interests of them? For every business in the world, the only thing that matters is the customer. What the customer likes, what the customer hates. Would they like that decision? Would they hate that decision? Because the truth is, if you go down a route where actually people don't like what you create, chances are someone else might come out with a better product and steal all your customers. And that's how capitalism works. But the idea is to always having a conscious awareness of the customer, what are their needs, wants, desires, that kind of thing. Actually, it will put you in a much better position to help you grow your business through always keeping that in mind. And it's a very simple concept, and it's part of the reason why I bought the chair to kind of sit on my wall. But it's that reminder, because often when we all run our businesses or charities or organizations, we all kind of know what to do, but it's easy to get busy and go down a rabbit hole and get stuck into doing various different things. And what we want is to essentially, yes, just give you the roadmap, give you the reminder of stuff that you can do to help your business or career. And actually just keeping in mind the voice of the customer, it's something to keep in mind. Historically, this would always sit with marketing. So if you work for a really big company or even a not so big company, the person that looks after marketing should always be this person. Often there's a complaint that marketing gets overlooked and it doesn't always get board attention in the same way that strategy and finance and sales and that kind of thing do. But they rarely should. But the truth is, especially for small, well, it's true for everyone, but actually, especially for smaller businesses, the more you understand about people's wants, needs, desires, what their beliefs are, what they think, what they say about you behind closed doors, other things that they buy, other things going on with their lives. The idea is the better you can have your dialogue with a customer to understand things that affect them, things that they worry about, things that they don't even want to tell anyone, but actually you can potentially solve. This is where the magic comes to build a fantastic business. One example of this, and it only really comes through getting to know people really well, is that for business education and training, there is an unspoken kind of, it's not a rule, but there's an unspoken thing where lots of people would like to be able to access advice and guidance on different topics, but they're scared of asking people because they're worried about looking stupid, or they feel that they should know this already, or would other people judge them because they're asking what other people might deem as a stupid question. So one of the things that we're looking to do, it's one of our new service offerings, which we shared the beta with earlier in the week, is the idea for someone to be able to go on completely anonymously. There's no data saved or anything. And the idea is that you can go on and actually say, okay, so I'm a business owner, losing money at the moment. We run out of money in 3 months' time. We are confident that we're selling the right product. What should we do? And then what we do is direct you to exactly the right part of the course to basically help you turn that round as quick as possible. So in that case, with money running out really quick, you want to focus directly on sales, and there are certain things that we would do to really kind of turn that round quickly, as well as, I can't remember which page it is, but we have a topic, it's about cost reduction and actually cost cutting in a way just to survive when you're losing cash. But the idea is the current barrier is often that people don't ask anyone, or they might ask the internet, but that's always a really bad idea. But the idea is what we're looking to do is tackle things and beliefs of the customer that nobody's ever said to us, but we know it's a real thing. But it's about this whole concept of how, for your business or career or YouTube channel or whichever, always keep in mind the voice of the customer. Imagine they're sat there and actually what can you do to best satisfy their needs. So my name's Steve. If you catch this on YouTube, please kind of give us a like and subscribe. We talk about business and entrepreneurship type content. And we also have a business course called the Roadmap Alternative MBA, which is in 47 different countries now. We've got an app, you can go on, download it completely for free, access all the stuff completely for free. There's no catches, there's no sneaky things, but actually we are just looking to hopefully build a community to help people thrive and celebrate together. So at 9:17, I was going to end it, but there's one last thing that I want to talk about, and it's the reason for doing this. It's calling myself out on my own kind of bullshit. So let me do this. So when I've been doing my YC research, one of the things that they talk about all the time, and it's very easy to do, is get hung up on vanity metrics. So for any startup, but it's true for any business, it's how if you start drinking your own Kool-Aid, as they'd say in America, it's when you start believing your own hype and you're celebrating things that maybe don't necessarily mean as much as you hope they do. And actually, I wanted to call myself out on it. So with the roadmap, but this is true for almost every business when you first start out, you have to build something called social proof. So it's the fact of where you've made this thing, do people think it's any good? And actually, the more you can evidence that lots of people think it's good, it gives you more credibility, then you can hopefully be seen as an authority or an expert on a topic, which therefore helps convince more people, you'll sell more, and it's that flywheel that gradually gets better and better and better. One of the things that I wanted to kind of call myself out on in some ways is that for the roadmap, we genuinely do have users in 47 different countries, which is mega cool. I love that stat. But what I need to acknowledge is that that's great for proving the concept of there is universal demand for business education and training. The Trustpilot reviews that we've had are brilliant for getting feedback, and I speak to a lot of different people. So I know the stuff is good, but the only metric that really matters, especially for investors, is revenue, net profit, and active users. And what I wanted to do, because I've been preparing this for the YC application, is actually to answer this thing that it's really easy to get hung up on. We've got 10,000 users on the platform. We don't, I'm just using that as an example. But say if you have 10,000 users, what investors and what YC really want to look at is that, yeah, but how many are active? How many actually use the app once a month or once a day or whichever? And that's a completely different metric, because on my phone, I probably have 70 different apps. I'd say 60 of them I haven't opened in months. And I reckon a fair chunk I probably only ever opened once. The point is, for a startup founder, the vanity metric of saying we have 1 million downloads of our app is actually meaningless if only 10 people use it. And it was something that I wanted to talk about, just because this is something that I want to do on the live stream, is that yes, when I do talk about how we have users in 47 countries, which is mega cool, and I love that, it doesn't matter. I use it and I talk about it to help build social proof, trust and recognition in the brand and what we're trying to do and the scale that we're trying to achieve. So with a mission of trying to reach 5 billion people, if we only ever had users within 5 miles of where I'm stood, it's not going to happen. But actually showing that we have people in Qatar, Ukraine, Afghanistan, Iraq, Brazil, Argentina, America, Nigeria, Ghana, etc., helps show that actually if we can grow each of those, there is universal demand for what we're trying to do, so that if we can fund it, we can do it bigger, better, faster, etc. But it was just that balance of really making sure that I communicate and share the fact that vanity metrics are good for certain things, but don't bet your house that they're the most important thing. You really want to look at what are the most important numbers for your business. So for us, it's active users. it is downloads, especially as we start the app, but the only thing that matters is revenue and net profit. I can control our net profit based on our overheads and how we spend money, so therefore it's about revenue. The way that we're looking to drive revenue is to drive user base, get awareness, and actually start to push to ask people actually to, do they want to buy the course and actually use it to train their team. And to be honest, that's the only thing that actually matters. And I just wanted to kind of call myself out on this, but actually just share the knowledge that if you want to start or launch your own thing, always pay attention to what are the actual important metrics, the things that you should actually pay attention to. Focus on those. And also when you eventually do pitch to investors or whoever, you don't look stupid, because actually if I went into those meetings thinking I was great and they just ripped me apart because actually revenue is still rubbish, it doesn't put you in a great position. Whereas actually if you know the weak points of your application, if you know the weak points of your business, actually it often helps to almost call yourself out and work on them, because at least it gives the investor confidence that you know what you're doing, you know what you need to focus on. And then actually it's your job to just make change and make improvement in that area. And it was just something I wanted to talk about. So at 9:23, I'm going to call it quits there. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a great weekend. Good luck with all of your aims, goals, and everything that you're doing as well. If you want to join any of our live drop-in sessions, we do them 4 times a week. The UK times are 3 p.m. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Tuesday, 7 a.m. on a Thursday, and also midday Friday, so that'll be today. Your local time will apply if you log on to your dashboard at roadmapmba.com. It should show your local time for wherever you are in the world, but they're all via Zoom. You can log in and join, and basically the live drop-in sessions are generally for our paid users. But actually, if you hit me up, I will send you a free link to get involved as well. So have a great day. Have a wonderful Friday. Good luck with your aims, goals, and anything you've got on as well. And yeah, I'll see you soon. All right, cheers guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.